Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey, hey.
This is Helmets and Heels.
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Oh, how we've missed you. Victory Monday. And yes, I understand beating the hated Titans 10-6 in Nashville when the season's over isn't the same feeling as earlier in the season, but it's a victory nonetheless.
Lowest scoring game of the season. Did I hear David Garrard and Mike Dempsey and Tony Smith say as much during Jaguars today?
I mean, would you be surprised?
I mean, when it was 3-0
at the half, I thought I was watching Big Ten football.
The funny part is,
terrible.
Maybe because I'm just conditioned to it at this point, I just let it happen. But I did look at Kevin at one point, and I said, wow, it is 3-0 right now. And even to watch a Jaguars game, it's not out of the ordinary because I've sat through 6-0 games, i.e. 2018 against the Indianapolis Colts. Where's Pockets? Pockets just left. He posted the stat on X. The Washington Redskins, yes, then they were the Redskins back in 2018, came to Jacksonville that same season with Josh Johnson as their quarterback. Cody Kessler was quarterbacking the Jags. And I think he posted the number. It was like 45 total offensive yards between the two teams in the first half or something like that. So maybe we're just conditioned to it. And so the idea of this being such a low-scoring affair was just, okay, well, a win's a win.
It probably should have been 14-0 Titans, or at the very least 10-0 Titans. After their first drive, I thought, oh boy, here we go. And I'm sure most Jags fans did too, because they gashed the Jags on the ground. And at that point, you think, okay, it looked to me after the very first drive that the Jags literally didn't care to be there. The defense didn't. And I was like, this is going to be ugly. And this team's not even very good.
Yeah.
But Will Levis is one of the worst quarterbacks you'll ever see. And so therefore, he missed some incredibly wide open opportunities. And if I'm the Titans, I am 100% wanting them to draft a quarterback.
Yeah, I have not seen anything in Will Levis's career so far that makes me think that he's the guy. And when we were talking last week to Justin Mello about them, and he's like, oh, he's been playing well. I'm like, I don't know. Like,
the last 4 games,
low
his
bar.
stats looked good.
Better, but I guess that's and he watches these games, so it was interesting. So I was this week kind of like, okay, are we going to be seeing a little bit of a different Will Levis? No, we are not. This is Will Levis, and this is what he's done since we've seen him. I can't even say there's a few good throws, because I think that's out of Mac Jones. That's what we see. You see like 3 or so good throws where you're like, all right, well, there's like a little something in there, but not like too much.
I
but
think
a little
there's
bit.
a little something with Will Levis. There were a couple throws yesterday.
I don't know. I just was not impressed whatsoever. Maybe some of it, and maybe some of it's the surroundings. Obviously, Calvin Ridley, go Calvin, thank you, botched that play at the end where he probably should have turned up and got a first down. I
don't think it was quite as easy as what the announcers were saying.
He's running full speed.
Because the angle with which he caught the ball. But again, if you're Will Levis, you should have put that ball in a different spot so that Calvin could have turned upfield.
Yeah, and
but we appreciate it.
It's just, there was maybe one throw of Will Levis where I was like, oh, that was pretty decent. The amount of bad throws, like just outright not in the bad place, overthrows, underthrows to the ground, not even when somebody is in the range of even having a player there, which we also saw that from Mac Jones. But I think that the Titans definitely have to probably start looking, and I know people are like, be a little patient because look at what Bryce Young's doing now, and he looks really good, so have some patience with these guys. But you start seeing flashes, and I think a lot of people, you and I, Lauren, being some of those people, never thought Will Levis was good in the first place, so there wasn't really anything we thought was going to grow.
Right. When you watch him in college, watching him closely at Kentucky, like you knew, at least I thought, his game wasn't going to translate. But there were people, and they're always going to use the example of Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he wasn't, an NFL caliber quarterback when he was coming out of college either at Wyoming, but now look at him. And of course the Sam Darnold experiment in New York went terribly, but now look at what he's doing. And yes, there are those quarterbacks, but there are lots of other quarterbacks who, Mac Jones included, who went in the first round, and you look up and you say, all right, that's not a guy that can be a franchise quarterback.
Let me point out the silver lining that our friend Hayes Carline brought up on the Terminex kickoff show yesterday morning, which this was prior to the 10-6 Jaguars victory. He said that while certainly there will be those, and I've already seen some of you Heeligans on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures who have alluded to this, there will be those Jaguar fans who are concerned about draft positioning, jockeying for the Travis Hunter sweepstakes. What this game also symbolizes is 2 more opportunities in your final 5 games to signal to Tennessee whether or not Will Levis is the guy moving forward, and forcing the Titans' hand to either draft a quarterback in the first round or the second round, or get involved in the Sam Darnold, ironically, or Aaron Rodgers, for that matter, sweepstakes, because you recognize that Will Levis is not the guy, if only in the short term, because it is going to be a longer project than you previously thought. And that is what I think came out of yesterday's game. He did not throw an interception, by the way. He did not throw one of his signature pick sixes where he makes some acrobatic play and gets decapitated. And,
he almost threw some picks.
Yeah, but the point is that he did not throw an interception yesterday, which, again, low barred clear, but I think for fans of the Titans, like that's where they're at. He's not throwing picks at the same rate that he was in the first half of the season, so perhaps that's where the growth is coming from. At the same time, he's missing Chigakonkwo on a crossing route, wide open in the front of the end zone.
To him.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah. And honestly, hardly getting pressured. The Jags got to him 2 times, so it's not even like you were going through this defense that was causing this massive disruption for the entire game. Sometimes you can use those as reasons or excuses to why you're maybe rushing throws and maybe not on target and things like that. But there were several moments where I was like, he has time. He just does not know what he's doing. Like,
I did feel like the pressure was a little bit more consistent yesterday. They just weren't getting sacks. And, of course, like Trayvon's got negated by a penalty, so he should have had a sack. But either way, we're going to talk more about the Jags, obviously, than what the Titans do with Will Levis. But if I was them, I would 100% draft a quarterback. And to one thing you said, Mia, if the Vikings don't bring back Sam Darnold in favor of J.J. McCarthy, a guy who's never played in the NFL, that would be totally shocking. But that's
apparently where
their Twitter right now is like they're not re-signing him.
Yeah, that's insane to me. But again,
because they probably figure they're going to go out and get a Mason Rudolph to just be there in case of break glass in case of emergency.
They said goodbye to Kirk Cousins at the right time, that's for sure. But as far as bringing back to the Jags, yesterday was a day where, and y'all know I love Brian Thomas Jr. I wanted the Jags to draft him. I predicted the Jags would draft him. Get him the ball. Yeah. And I understand in the first half, Mac Jones looked his way a couple of times, but they had some miscommunications. My guess is Mac was throwing the ball to the wrong spot, not BTJ was in the wrong spot, but that's just my guess. Look at what happens when you involve him consistently. Yeah. And yes, it does certainly help too when Travis Etienne is gaining so many yards in the backfield, or as far as being a pass-catching running back too. But get number 7 the ball, please.
Yeah.
Early and often.
What the announcers like to call him and Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
And Brian Jones, I think they said. I was like, they were not getting his name right at
Brian
all.
said, I think it was the first time we had that crew, the Jason McCourty and Tiki Barber crew, was a Jags home game. So I didn't watch the broadcast. Mm-hmm. We were at the stadium, but Brian said he thinks it's the same crew that called it Brian Robinson
the first time.
Earlier in the season.
And how do you know? They were like, the Titans just played Washington, so maybe it was in his head. And I was like, okay, well, who's Brian Jones?
Right. I guess the Jarian Jones sack made him then think Brian Jones.
And then they kept saying Anton Harrison, and I was like, okay, never mind.
I believe that they need to spend more time each week in preparing.
They were probably like, we have to cover the Jags and the Titans game this weekend. When the Jags finally got that touchdown, they literally like, we finally have a touchdown. And I was like, yes, I know.
But you get to go to Nashville. Come on, I don't want to hear it.
But yeah, Brian Thomas Jr., get him the ball. There's no reason he should not be getting the ball. And also, going back to last week when I said the importance of Tank Bigsby being in this game, and you saw those moments where it shined. It's not like he had like 100 rushing yards, but those like short yardage downs, which they actually looked way better on third downs this last week against Tennessee than they have in quite a bit. And I think that
because the Titans are terrible.
Their defensive front's not though. Like it's actually been pretty decent.
Been the worst team against their
third down.
I don't understand how their defensive stats at times can look good, but
I know it doesn't. None of their stuff like matches correctly to what exactly is happening. But my tangent is on another team who is also their stats aren't matching what's happening.
Tease.
Yes. My tangent brought to you by Chick-fil-A. But yeah, I think that is one of the positive things that if you want to talk about the Tennessee Titans and now forcing them to be like, okay, maybe we don't have the guy of our future. Now we have to hit the reset button again. You are forcing that, but you also are seeing guys like Brian Thomas Jr. and Tank Bigsby, and you know that they can be future pieces of this offense, which is also fun to watch.
It is. And another thing is when you get to see a defense actually deployed correctly. And I felt like yesterday they still had the shifts and things like that, but it felt like guys were finally being played in positions that they actually had a chance to shine.
We'll get to the defense here in just a second. I do want to let the Heeligans hear from Doug Peterson because it was a very conscious effort to get Brian Thomas Jr. the ball more in the second half.
Yeah, we tried earlier in the game to do some things that way. Tennessee took a couple of those options, away, and we just, we didn't get into a rhythm. But it's what we got to do, right? We got to get Brian involved, and he's such a dynamic, young, first-year receiver that he's a great player. I mean, he's a great player. He's gonna be a really good player in this league, and for he and Mac to make that play, it's kind of a broken play, scramble, that really got us down there, and just I think that was we scored the touchdown on that drive. Just great awareness by those two, but BT is just a solid player that continues to improve each week.
A very conscious effort, and then they kept going to him over and over and over again. That's where I want to bridge the offense and the defense together, ladies. If something is working, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. If you're going to Brian Thomas Jr. and it's working, if you're running Tank Bigsby and it's working, if Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker are creating pressures and or you're getting Jarian Jones on a nickel blitz off the edge and that is working to success, don't stop doing it. Keep doing it. I don't understand why you would go away from it.
Well, it's obviously too little too late. Brian Thomas Jr. should have far more involvement in the games that the Jaguars
So
lost
should Tank Bigsby, by
in the middle of the season. I think.
And Brenton Strange.
Bigsby too.
And more.
Yeah, Brenton Strange is obviously talented and very underutilized.
Yeah.
This is a guy who every time he touches the ball, positive things happen. And look, I understand. Trevor Lawrence is the guy you built the offense around, or at least in theory. And now you have Mac Jones, and so things are going to look different. But even Mac, it seems like, has a good rapport with Brenton Strange. So get 85 the ball. Certainly you want to look for Evan Ingram as well. But it just feels like they're 2 steps forward and 1 step back way too often.
It does feel in this game when they started to speed things up, and they were even talking about it, the broadcast was like Mac Jones looks way more comfortable in up-tempo, just go quick.
Less thinking.
Yes. Yes.
Which so does Trevor Lawrence, by the way.
Yes, he does. And we've talked about that a million times too. So why we're taking this long to do this for a backup quarterback when you also probably should have been doing that for your starting quarterback the whole season. That's a whole different story. But I do think that for the rest of the season, that's something that you would hope we see a lot of with Mac is just let him get the ball out as quick as possible. Get it to Brian Thomas Jr. if that's the easiest option to do. I think that Tank Bigsby has been that guy when it comes to getting the yards after contact that you need. He's just so incredible with it that you need to rely on those things. And every defense is different. We know that certain defenses are better against the pass and better against the run, and so you do have to adjust in those certain scenarios. But to what Mia was just saying, when things are working, go with that. Like, I don't understand why they constantly start to shy away when things start to work. And I do feel like later in the game, they kind of did stick to the BTJ thing, which is what we've been asking for since literally week 1. So applause, great job for doing that finally.
Finally. I will say the Jags finally attempt a trick play, and it goes
for
-7 yards. Yes, we want
It was the story of the first half,
We
by
want
the
this
way.
offense to be more creative, but you've got to find a better trick play than that. I mean, come on, man. It's just, I hope that whatever happens for the last 4 games, and we'll get to that coming up, but that we do get to see these positive, bright spots for the young guys. And that's what yesterday, more than the win, you walked away from it going, okay, so Jarian Jones is a starter in this league. Not just yesterday, but certainly the sack and then just how he played overall. You've got, obviously, like we talked about, BTJ and Tank. And I thought the offensive line played fairly well against the Titans, up front, that can cause serious issues for other teams.
Round of applause for one Cole Van Lannon.
Yeah,
stepping
cool. That was
up.
good.
Only
Shout
allowed a couple
out
pressures
to CVL. I mean, right tackle is not even his natural position, and he just gets thrust out there. Anton Harrison, I'm told, was very significantly ill, was not feeling great when he got on the plane, woke up yesterday sick as a dog, just physically could not move. And so, hey, shout out to Cole Van Lannon for stepping up to the plate. And yes, I think that may be one of the more underrated storylines coming out of yesterday, Lauren, because Doug Peterson said multiple times last week he believed this Titans front would be the most ferocious the Jaguars would face the entire season, not just because they were the next assignment, but because they have Jeffrey Simmons, who, next to Chris Jones, who we saw last night on Sunday Night Football, is probably the best three technique, best pass rushing interior defensive lineman in the National Football League right now. And so the fact that they were able to largely silence that front, that spoke volumes about an offensive line that, yes, I know Anton wasn't playing yesterday, but Anton's going to be back next year. Walker Little's obviously going to be back now next year. Ezra Cleveland will be back next year. And while those other two positions remain question marks, Mitch Morse will be under contract. Technically, so is Brandon Scherf. I do think that you do have to see some continuity between those other three players because regardless of who's making the decisions, they're in the future plans.
We will continue the Victory Monday conversation talking about the Jags on this Big Chief Tire Monday. You can find them online at WeKeepJacksRollin.com. It's Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Let's go. Game day gets here a little quicker with Pregame Friday.
Here we go.
Who's in, who's out, who's on upset watch.
Exactly.
We'll get you ready for the games.
All right, you ready?
Brought to you by Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
Yo, it's your boy E to the T here. And fellas, we all know that athletes train every day to perform better on the field, right? But what if you could enhance your performance in the bedroom? No training required. That's right. I'm talking about that secret weapon, Blue Chew. A chewable tablet with the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin that ships right to your door in a discreet package. No doctor visits, no trips to the pharmacy. It's all online. Their licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. They also have Daily Tag that contains 7 essential vitamins. And it's chewable too. And now you can try Blue Chew for the free ski. That's right, for free on me. Visit BlueChew.com and enter my promo code 1010XL. You only have to pay $5 for shipping. Turn that oh no into a oh yeah. That's promo code 1010XL. Let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. The Chick-fil-A Peppermint Chip Milkshake is a holiday tradition that's back for another season. Hand-spun the old-fashioned way, this festive peppermint-flavored milkshake is made with Chick-fil-A ice cream dessert and features chips of crunchy peppermint bark. It's minty, merry, and topped with whipped cream and cherry when served in stores. Order in the Chick-fil-A app now or at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant.
We're H-A-P-P-Y, because Happy Honda Days are here. Everything is bigger. Bigger selection, bigger discounts, bigger trade-in values. Honda, quality, value, safety. Don't miss Happy Honda Days, going on now at your local Honda dealer.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
Bold City AC, heating that rules.
Is your AC ready for the holidays? Bold City Heating and Air ensures your AC stays in tip-top shape. We know that a clean AC is a healthy AC. Upgrade yours for just $96 a month and enjoy free duct cleanings with your new system. Plus, ask about our 0% financing options.
Bold City AC, we got the crew. Bold City AC.
Visit boldcityac.com.
Helmets and Heels.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too. From Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I just cannot say enough good things about my friends at Pella Windows and Doors. They have the highest quality products, the strongest limited warranties in the industry, and they just flat out look amazing. But don't just take my word for it. Consumer Reports still has Pella rated #1 in all 3 major window categories, so why not go with the best? Call them today or visit the Pella showroom and be sure to ask about the latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows. That's Pella Windows and Doors on Phillips Highway, and tell them Mike sent you.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Joe C. for CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. There's nothing like the ambiance of a custom-built fireplace. The team at CSS can design and install the perfect setup, including wood, gas, and electric models, whether you want the elegance of an indoor fireplace or the warmth of an outdoor fire pit. You dream it, they build it. Visit their showroom or online at cssfireplaces.com.
You dream it, we build it. CSS.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
The 12 Days of Christmas is back and better than ever at Best Bet Jacksonville. From December 12th to the 23rd, we're lighting up the tables with our much-anticipated High Hands promotion, giving away over $330,000 in cash and prizes. The excitement continues to grow each day, starting at $1,200 and climbing up to $2,300, and the chance to set sail on a card player poker cruise. Explore all the excitement at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
They run it with Bigsby again to the left side. He gets loose. He's into the end zone. Touchdown. Tate Bigsby has scored on an inside handoff, and the Jaguars have taken the lead with 6:46 to play in the ball game.
I forgot how I feel. Honestly, it's a great feeling. I seen it on Coach's face. He was so excited. I seen it on the players' face. It's a good feeling to see everybody happy. You know, we work so hard, and it's an amazing opportunity.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
That's what it sounded like yesterday as Tank Bigsby found the end zone up in Nashville. The Jaguars defeated the Titans 10-6. Yes, that's right, 10-6. And then you heard Tank Bigsby talking about the Jags finally getting a victory. Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Big Chief Tire Monday and this Victory Monday. So, Mia, I'll start with you. What does this win mean for the team? Can they go on a run? Does it matter?
Can they go on a run?
Yeah, I mean, the next four games.
on a little jog.
They're going on a jog. Well said, Taylor. Yeah, it's a jog.
The Jets come here. The Jaguars take on a third-string quarterback in Las Vegas. We'll be there for that one. And then, of course, the Jaguars have the Titans back here. So, again, Will Levis. And then at the Colts. So, like, in theory, the Jags could go on a run.
Do you want them to win?
Do I want them to win? I would like them to win at least one more game for morale. Just for the guys that do work really hard.
Which one would you want to win the most?
The Titans here, because I hate the Titans.
Because here's the reality.
They're going to beat the Raiders. They probably won't beat the Titans.
I see the Heeligans on the text line, Design My Lifetime Enclosures, who, yes, I see from 910, nothing dumber than being a Jags fan and being upset you are losing draft slots. What exactly has a higher pick done for the team in the past 20 years?
Yeah, third time picking number one overall in 5 years potentially is what it was looking like.
I agreed. I get that sentiment. Ultimately, you can't even
I'd personally take another Trayvon Walker.
Right. He could use one. He certainly could use one, especially if he can play the interior, because this Trayvon has been designated as he has to play on the edge alongside Eric Armstead. Story for another time. I agree with you, Taylor. But ultimately, every draft pick is a lottery pick.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what it is. And so are you really going to risk tangible wins for that lottery pick. What's most disappointing about this situation is if we were having this conversation about a light jog or what 766 on the text line is calling a speed walk. Like, if this
Speed walking's hard, by the way.
If this conversation was being had a week and a half ago, before the team faced the Houston Texans, before you were mathematically eliminated, I would love Lauren to say nothing more than the Jaguars won out. They won 6 games.
Yeah.
I understand there are those of you who also have concerns about what that means for the future of who will be making the decisions in Jacksonville. Would that sway Shad Khan's opinion if he has already made a decision regarding who will be the coach and the general manager? I totally understand that. But what's most upsetting is that why couldn't we have that light jog a week and a half ago?
Yeah.
Like, I understand the Titans are an inferior opponent. I understand these upcoming 4 opponents are also, outside of perhaps the Colts, the Jaguars will be betting favorites in many of these next few games. But at the same time, I don't know how you can come off from this idea of would winning out change that opinion? Would it change the draft position? Would it change the trajectory of your franchise? It's very hard to rectify with.
And they're not going to win out. Like that's not. This isn't a team that, as of yesterday, looked like a world beater.
Right.
With Mac
They scored
Jones.
10 points.
Turn on another game, and you were like, "This looks like 2 different sports." Sometimes
The Rams-Bills game.
Oh my gosh.
was so much fun.
Yeah.
And then we had to watch the Jags.
And I had to watch the Bears, and I was like, "This is awful." I had to watch 6 hours of terrible football. And I would flip to other games, and I'm like, this is so fun.
So this is what it's like to have an NFL contender. I told Taylor after the show, Mia, that had I gone last in our picks, I would have picked the 49ers because both of y'all picked the Bears, but I went first and I took the Bears. That was the only game I got wrong.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Bears.
Yeah.
But either way, the Jaguars, they're not going to win out. So I think people can relax about that. But if you were in the Jaguars are going to get Travis Hunter number 1 overall. He's going to change certainly whether he's going to play receiver, whether he's going to play corner. He's going to change one of those 2 rooms. You could potentially still get Travis Hunter because there are quarterback needy teams at the top of the draft. And it's not like you went from 1st to 20th.
I do want to look. We are talking draft now. We're not talking full draft.
Yeah.
The 1010XL draft guide. We had our first pseudo meeting this morning about it. We are not talking about prospects per se.
There's still 4 games left.
I think it's important to identify the position the Jaguars find themselves in if we want to talk about the next 4 games with regard to positioning for the NFL draft. At this juncture, there's 2 drafts. 3, really. The third one that we're going to just throw out there is the Shedeur Sanders Cam Ward sweepstakes. At this point in time, the New York Giants, the Las Vegas Raiders, collision course, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. Put them off to the side. If they continue down the path that they are on, those 2 teams would have the opportunity to select the quarterback of their choice. We know that they are both looking at quarterbacks in the upcoming draft. So
you could potentially throw Quinn Ewers in there too. There will be teams that I'm not saying I would draft.
Did you watch that game?
I did. I'm just saying they're going. Well, let's say he plays.
Do you want to
well.
throw Carson Beck and his one arm in that conversation too? Because at this point in time, they look like the same player with the one arm.
If Quinn Ewers in Texas somehow wins the college football playoff, there will be people that say, "Oh, look, he played a lot better, and he's a winner."
He's going to have to play 1,000 times better than what I saw over the weekend, but that's besides the point. Point is that there's the Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders quarterback column. Put that over there. There's the draft, the top of the draft, and then there's the Travis Hunter sweepstakes. That's where you're at. In my opinion, and he plays 2 positions, neither of which traditionally go first overall in the NFL draft. Once upon a time, in that same draft as Trayvon Walker, Sauce Gardner went 4th overall, and there were people saying, man, he really would have gone first if he didn't play corner. And so would Travis Hunter, because he plays both wide receiver and corner, even be able to go first if a non-quarterback needy team was to be picking first? I don't think he would, just because of this is the way the league does it. But therefore, that's the sweepstakes that you're in danger of. If you win more games, you're going to fall out of. There are those who believe that Will Johnson out of Michigan, certainly some other corners a couple rounds deeper in the draft, could still be serviceable CB2s opposite of Tyson Campbell, or even be comparable to him as the corner number 1 for a team like the Jaguars.
I also need to know, can Jarian Jones play outside? He's been really good.
I've had a lot of people ask me that, and I had a conversation with Frank Frangie about it probably like a month ago because I genuinely was curious. I went on my rant last week of how much I love Jarian, and I feel like that just continues to grow. But I was curious about that, and both Frank and Hayes said they believe he can, but they don't know if they will move him just because he's so good in nickel and the things that he can do up there and kind of create. And because that's become so important, too, with the way that offenses are scheming, you want to have that nickel corner that is elite. The teams that have that, like, it stands out, it sticks out. And so, but I would be curious if it's something that if you can move him outside in certain packages or whatever the case may be, can he play both of those? Because that does add a whole other element to what you need. That changes the element of what you need a little bit in the secondary, if that's the case.
It does, absolutely. Because then if you're not going to draft a nickel corner in the top 10.
No, you never were.
Right.
But you would draft an elite corner who either supplants Tyson as your cornerback one, which if Tyson Campbell and the way he played, despite having the thigh injury yesterday, if he's your corner number 2, you're doing pretty well in my book. And so that's ultimately what this comes down to. You have the quarterback sweepstakes, you have the Travis Hunter sweepstakes, and you have the rest of the top of the NFL draft. That is where the Jaguars find themselves in between that second and third tier right now.
I could see, because at this point, on Tankathon, it's obviously Vegas, Giants, Patriots, Carolina, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Jets, Cleveland, Bears, Cincinnati are the top 10. I could see a New England going after.
Oh, 100% going after Travis Hunter.
Definitely.
Same with Carolina. Because guess what? At that point, with those two teams, the New England Patriots and the Carolina Panthers, much like the team in this town, as difficult as it is to say that out loud, there's a lot of holes.
Yeah.
There's not one singular, hey, we need a left tackle. Hey, we need a wide receiver. Hey, we need a
So let's get 2 at once. So we can.
But will Dion let Travis Hunter go to a team like the Patriots or like the Panthers? Will he step in? Yeah, we shall see. Speaking of college football, we will get to that when we come back.
Actually, the Hilligans want us to hit the breaking now, Lauren. So let's hit the breaking, RJ, because this one's big for you Gator fans.
That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Florida star junior defensive lineman Caleb Banks has decided to return to school for another season. He will not enter the NFL draft, he tells CBS Sports' Matt Zenitz. It obviously is huge news for Florida. NFL scouts have regarded the 6'6", 325-pound Banks as an early round draft prospect.
Yeah, I saw that during our first segment, and I was very excited about it. All right, when we come back, we will get into the college football playoff that is now set. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday. There's a reason they've been voted the best tire shop in Jacksonville for 5 years in a row at the Community Choice Awards. We love the Parman family. You will, too. Go to WeKeepJacksRollin.com. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Nick in here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, you need to get screened for colon cancer. Ask your doctor about getting a colonoscopy. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. Borland Groover recently expanded into St. Johns County. The new and advanced surgery center and medical office is open in Durbin Crossing. Visit BorlandGroover.com for a location near you. Remember, 45 is the new 50. Get screened today with Borland Groover.
Mia here. The holidays are around the corner, and the last thing you want is a septic emergency. Call Duck Duck Rooter and schedule your septic tank pump out or full system inspection today before Grandma and Uncle Eddie come to town. That's Duck Duck Rooter at 904-862-6769. Don't let a septic disaster be the highlight of your holiday dinner. Visit DuckDuckRooter.com or call today, 904-862-6769.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Hey, sports fans, Gibby here, and we are back to Monday Night Football tonight after another profitable betting weekend on MyBookie. If you didn't hit, well, you have the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Dallas as 5.5-point favorites on Monday Night Football. We'll take that spread all day as the Bengals are actually good, and they are in a must-win scenario to stay in the playoff hunt. A high point total in this one with a 49.5-point over-under. Take a hard look at a parlay bet with the Bengals covering the 5.5 points and the under 49.5. Guys, MyBookie has the best sign-up bonus in the industry for Florida bettors. Our listeners can just sign up and use the promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit up to $1,000. That's promo code 1010XL to claim your double deposit bonus from Monday Night Football. Bet anywhere, anytime, and make your season a winning season with MyBookie.
Hey, Florida drivers, the holiday season is upon us. When celebrating, always plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Besides, a DUI could cost you $10,000. Not exactly the best gift you could give yourself. Celebrate responsibly and remember to drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
It's the end of the year sale with Universal Roof and Contracting. Get 15% off all roof repairs and replacements, plus a $250 gift card for holiday shopping. With financing options as low as $150 a month, protecting your home's never been easier. Schedule your free roof inspection today. Call 855-ROOF-HELP, and this offer expires December 31st. License number CCC 057165, CBC 125-8484.
UniversalRoof.com. Post-game Monday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Hey, Jacksonville Koozies, it's me, Soccer Sam, for Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizza is now open in Jacksonville, Florida, Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. Daily $10 deals, dine in with beer and wine, and delivery at salvatores.com. The famous Formoso family brings Salvatore's Pizza, Rochester's favorite pizza, including our 32-piece sheet pizza for your next event. Go with me, baby. Salvatores.com.
This Day in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On December 9, 2018, NFL quarterback Tom Brady breaks Peyton Manning's record for most touchdown passes in NFL history, recording 582.
Hey folks, Dave Binion here with Zero Res. At Zero Res, we love rugs. We will treat your fine Oriental rugs with the tender and loving care they deserve. Gerard, the Zero Res rug manager, is one of the few certified master rug cleaners in Florida. If you want your rugs cleaned with tender loving care, call Zero Res. Right now, get your rugs washed and we will give you 25% off. Zero Res, spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
It's a sale so big, Santa wants to get in on it.
It's Beards Diamonds' incredible 44th anniversary sale, held over till Christmas Eve. Everything store-wide is on sale, up to 44% off.
Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center or beardsdiamonds.com.
My name's Jim. I'm 53 years old. There should be options in life, like ways to lose weight. Medications now feel like the only option. I mean, it sounds like a guarantee. I do have friends who have lost weight with them. I tried holding off. I did other diets, but I was miserable. I'd rather be fat and happy. The problem was I wasn't happy fat. I was about to start the meds, but then I heard of Awaken 180's GLP-1 program. Turned out it does the same thing as the meds without injecting myself for life. It absolutely worked. I dropped 45 pounds. I'm now in maintenance, and I feel better than my friends who are still on the meds. Listen, I barely know what GLP-1 is. What I do know is Awaken 180 worked for me, and I was far from miserable doing it.
Thanks, Jim. You all know our success with Awaken 180, and now with Awaken 180's GLP-1 balance, you address the root causes of weight issues. Do it naturally, then keep it off. Awaken180weightloss.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars quarterback Mac Jones on Sunday's win in Nashville.
I mean, I know it's really hard to win in the NFL, and I've learned that the hard way, and I've always, followed that mantra of just a win's a win, and you can play really well and lose and play not so good and win, and it just takes that one or two plays each game. So I told the young guys that's the learning lesson here, and I feel like we played with a little bit more swag today, and I know we're going to continue to do that. Offense, defense, and special teams, we're not going to be scared, so we just got to keep that going.
Jones on what he saw from the Jags in the second half.
Thought the guys responded, and we didn't quit this time, which is really important for us moving forward. There was no quit.
Mac Jones on Sunday. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
ETN in the I formation. They hand it to him. Touchdown! Georgia SEC champions! As every dog digs really deep.
Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale Lighting, Fans, and Home Decor on 1010XL.
And by every dog, Chris Fowler meant Carson Beck going back into the game with what we now know is a UCL injury. For those people wondering whether or not he'll play in the Sugar Bowl, we don't know yet. Kirby Smart has not said one way or the other, but it seems like he won't. If you read certain reports, he did have an MRI yesterday. But Kirby, when he met with the media, said he's still waiting to find out the results. So at this point, we don't know for sure. It does seem like Gunnar Stockton will be the quarterback when Georgia plays its next football game. But of course, they do have a bye. So we'll wait to see the winner of Indiana and Notre Dame as far as who will take on the Bulldogs. But I didn't love the decision of putting Beck back in. I know Trevor Etienne got the touchdown in overtime and ended the game. But I don't know how, what if he had, I don't know, it could have gotten worse.
What did they do?
Well, no, before you go any further, I'm upset that Lauren didn't lead this segment by taking a victory lap.
Because I don't ever do
for
victory
weeks.
laps.
You do about BTJ. For weeks, you have insisted.
That's because I was the first person to say the Jags should draft BTJ. That's the only reason I took
it's a victory lap. Victory laps are allowed in this business. You have said for weeks that if Carson Beck was to get hurt, Gunnar Stockton would go in.
Mm-hmm.
The third string quarterback in the ultimate twist of fates for the University of Georgia is none other than Jaden Rashada, who, to my knowledge, was on the sidelines in Atlanta on Saturday. And so to answer your question, Taylor, I do not know why they could not ask Jaden Rashada to hand the ball off to Trevor Etienne.
The victory lap meaning that Rashada was listed as second on the depth chart and stars the quarterbacks, and I never agreed with that.
And you insisted Gunnar Stockton would go in.
Yeah, he's a 5-star, and whether or not Jaden Rashada is a 5-star, Jaden Rashada has some weird, messed up life outside of football. It's what it seems because of the path that he took to get to Athens. But yeah, Gunnar Stockton has been in line behind Beck now for this is his third season waiting in the wings, and so he got his moment. The fact that they reviewed that and said it wasn't targeting the hit that Stockton took that knocked his helmet off, I don't understand. But either way, that was a game for the ages.
Yeah, I feel like I understood the call. I think that Beck put his head down into the defender's head. That's why I felt like it was kind of hard to call, because it was one of those situations where he was shouting for Arch Manning in the second quarter. Give me something, because this is absolutely terrible. And I really wanted Texas to win. And they couldn't get the run game going, which was also kind of odd, because I feel like that has been one of their more focal points throughout the season, and it's their worst rushing attack they've had all season. Granted, it also that is one of Georgia's strengths in certain areas. And so I was like, what is going on in this game? Put in Arch. I need some sort of life for Texas, because I felt like it was a situation where we talk about here, where it's a good thing happens and then 4 bad things would happen. And that's what it was happening all day long with Texas. But yeah, Quinn, I don't see it. I don't see it there. And there was just a lot of moments where I was like, this is bad decision making. This is bad ball placement. This is no awareness whatsoever to what's happening around you. A lot of bad going on with that. But it was in the Georgia quarterback room too. Honestly, Carson didn't look good either. And it almost to me, Gunnar Stockton came in and I was like, okay, this looks like it's flowing a little bit better than it did with Carson. And they didn't have film on him, so that does kind of affect things sometimes when the team can't plan. Yeah, things like that.
Yeah, the fact that that game was in Atlanta certainly did help Georgia. They asked Quinn to do a heck of a lot. He threw the ball 46 times for 358 yards.
Which, as Taylor said, you probably didn't need to with the rushing attack they had.
Right, you should have run Wisner more. And I was surprised that Texas didn't go in with a game plan like that as far as Steve Sarkisian goes. But Sark, some of his play calls, the one in the first quarter, the trick play, I thought was fantastic. Yeah. The one right between the legs of Manning.
Oh, yeah, that was
super cool. But overall, yeah, I think at the end of the day, the reason I picked the reason I picked Georgia to beat Texas is even though Kirby had only won 2 of the SEC championships and he'd been there 7 times, there's just something about your team getting there over and over again, and Texas had never been to that point.
To the point of Gunnar Stockton and the offense looking better with him, I think a lot of that if we are to believe that outside of Jacksonville, there's real momentum when your quarterback gets hurt because they rally for him.
Oh, yeah.
I do think that was part of it. I mean, Carson crying coming out of the tunnel, and it was very clear from the body language of the team that, like, they were fired up because of the tough hit that he took on the final play of the first half. And that's not me being a Carson homer, by the way, because I've been critical of him as well. I don't think he has performed nearly at the caliber first-round draft pick that we thought that he would be this season. Now,
remember, by the way, Etienne almost didn't play in the game because of an injury. If he doesn't play, there's no chance.
Yeah, they don't win the game.
Well, they also missed 2 field goals. That's the win right there. If you don't miss 2 field goals, Texas wins.
Yeah, so Bert Auburn is his name for Texas. I call him the perm.
That picture was crazy. I know.
I want to know
like,
why.
wow.
Why do we were discussing this all weekend? Why do kickers like not have normal names? Like, why are they always? It's always got to be something wild, man. Outside of Cam Little and Matthew Wright, like that's it. I mean, I feel like every other kicker I saw this weekend had some crazy name.
Yeah.
Bert Auburn is just funny because it feels like he should have gone to Auburn. But yeah, missing 2 field goals was critical. But the fact now that we have a college football playoff bracket set, and there's teams in there that, of course, nobody wants to watch play football. Like, I'm looking at you, Indiana. I'm looking at you, Penn State. Like, nobody wants to watch.
Hey, now
y'all.
we've got some Drew Aller truthers in the MyBookie digital studio right now.
I personally like
Taylor's
Drew
part
Aller.
of it.
There you
and
go.
Cole Thompson, our friend SEC Unfiltered, loves Drew Aller, and he was tweeting about him all weekend. I personally like it. Like, I'm tired of all the same people. Like, I like getting to know these different teams, and I feel like it's a lot of teams that we've also been talking about all year. It's not like all of a sudden in the last 3 weeks we're like, oh, Indiana. Like, we've been talking about Indiana. We've been talking about SMU since the first week when we were talking about the Noles and how the Noles would face SMU, and it's actually a pretty good SMU team.
But feel free to win your conference championship, SMU.
Yeah.
Feel free to beat Clemson that had just lost to South Carolina.
I mean, they made it a game that I was worried for a minute. I was like, this is embarrassing. And then they did what they needed to do towards the end to prove that they're actually a competitive football team.
Both of those games I felt like were at the point where you could almost turn it off, like you thought, the Penn State-Oregon game, and then the ACC championship too, and then they climbed back in.
I did see the Penn State, the mom, so the long snapper for Penn State and the long snapper for Oregon, they're brothers. And
that's awesome.
I saw the mom, and she had a split Penn State and Oregon jersey, and I was like, that's a weird one. And then I saw an interview later, and she was like, oh, my sons are the long snappers.
That's awesome.
Like
That's a new target for an interview that I got to get at some point in time. Look, I think that the new blood is a good thing. As far as SMU goes, I would just like to personally thank Dabo Swinney. And if you trace this back, I would also like to thank Fran Brown of Syracuse for ensuring that we do not have Alabama in the playoff and creating the discourse that so many craved of in Kalen DeBoer's first year at the helm in Tuscaloosa. Not only do they lose 3 games, but they will not be in the first 12-team college football playoff. I think it's the right choice because you have 3 losses. 2 of them came as double-digit favorites on the road against Vandy. I understand this is not your grandmother's Vandy that we're currently experiencing in Nashville right now, but that is still Vanderbilt. The ratio of 5 stars that reside in Tuscaloosa compared to the 5 and 4 stars in Vandy, very stark difference.
But what if the option was South Carolina? What if I told you could have South Carolina or SMU? We had a different conversation last week.
We don't know.
Unfortunately, South Carolina.
Unfortunately, I would have to say SMU because SMU has 2 losses. One came in dramatic fashion in the ACC championship. I do not want to devalue.
And the other was 10 weeks ago. And that's to me, Alabama killed themselves because they lost just a few weeks ago to a very disappointing Oklahoma team.
Right.
And that
but
is
South Carolina
so
won
recent.
6 straight to get it to get to this point,
including
and they
being
beat ranked
Clemson.
teams.
Yeah.
And so that's where everyone wanted to focus on the Alabama SMU, and I was like, but yeah, Alabama had its chance and completely lost it. South Carolina, yes, they lost earlier in the season, but if you look at momentum going into the end of the
momentum and the strength of the teams they lost to.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, and I don't think I'm speaking.
But I think then Ole Miss loses to Florida, so then that loss doesn't look as good. So then those things start happening.
LSU also lost to Florida. Shout out to Florida.
So it's all Florida's fault, honestly, that South Carolina is not.
The point is, and this is where
it's actually their fault.
I saw our friend Matt Hayes, who of course will come on the airwaves of the Superstation here at 2:00, and I can't wait to hear what he has to say.
He's off until I think Wednesday.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Okay, just kidding. You don't get Matt Hayes today. Maybe that's a good, maybe that's a bad thing, because he was on a warpath on X this weekend because he wants to frame the conversation as Indiana against those other teams we just alluded to. Because,
and I understand that.
Because the idea of you have to play the games that are scheduled on your calendar. Kurt Signetti could not control the schedule for his first season at Indiana, in Bloomington. That's just the reality of it. And
the Big Ten could have made Indiana choose a more difficult schedule.
Yeah, but that would have been 2-3 years ago. Football schedules are scheduled out years in advance.
Though in conference one, though, they just did last year because the conference changed.
Right.
So that's where it's not Kurt Cignetti's fault. But as the conference, I would like them to go. I was talking to Greg McGarity about this, the executive director of the Gator Bowl, on Thursday. I would like the college models to go a little bit more NFL, and a team like Georgia and Texas next year, their schedule's already set, but in the next couple years, have the hardest strength of schedule within the conference. And the team that does the worst, say Mississippi State, has not as difficult.
Well, Indiana was the worst team in the conference, so that's why.
Sure, but like Penn State should have had a more difficult schedule.
Correct.
Within the Big Ten.
And that's what, to Mia's point, though, even scheduling it last week, Washington was ranked, UCLA was ranked. So there were several ranked teams on their schedule. It just ended up, all of those fell off and ended up sucking. Florida State, most people wouldn't have guessed Florida State was going to go from 13 wins to two wins. And it's just so even a year in advance in college football is so hard to predict, unless you're obviously scheduling Ohio State and Georgia and Alabama. Even that, look at Alabama, they have 3 losses. So even people who put that on the schedule probably thought it was going to be a better team than what they ended up scheduling. So it is harder in college football because I think the amount of players you're losing to the draft, now the amount of players you're losing in the portal, and then now the players that you're getting with NIL and all of these things, it does make it very unpredictable to know what that team's going to be like next year.
But the NFL doesn't worry about that. They just go off of the year before. But again, their schedule,
and that's why I hate the strength of schedule of the NFL.
And it's not done in advance. And that's where I understand the people who are anti-SEC say, I'm so glad the SEC only got 3 teams in. They're not as good as they've been in years past. There's not a dominant team. And the people who are pro-SEC say, who on earth did some of these teams beat in order to get in? And rankings certainly are a factor.
Yes, to 716. Didn't South Carolina lose to both Alabama and Ole Miss?
Yes.
That is the most disappointing part of this for me. You can't rank South Carolina ahead of Alabama, who was the first team out of the 12-team playoff, because head-to-head, they lost. That is where, if you are a Gamecock fan, that's where, unfortunately, it's a bitter pill to swallow, because I agree.
That game was so close.
The
South Carolina Alabama game was so close.
If there's not a pick in the end zone, they win that game. And then if they are 10-2, this is a completely different conversation. By the way, if their kicker doesn't miss what would have been a walk-off field goal against LSU. This is a completely different conversation. And
SMU's out in those situations.
Yes, correct.
Definitely.
Undoubtedly.
And it's okay to leave out a conference champion loser. Or a conference game loser.
Yeah, that's Iowa State out.
That happened to Georgia.
Right.
Georgia a couple years ago.
What was a 14?
Only lost, but they only lost one game, and that was the SEC championship to Alabama. And
well, and that's why I was fully prepared this morning to come in and have RJ ready to play that I Hate Alabama song, because I was like, it's going to happen.
By Connor Smith, the country singer. I love that song. If you've never heard it, it's fantastic.
Especially if you hate Alabama.
Yeah.
But it's everyone except Bama fans.
I don't even hate Alabama. It's more so the discourse that would accompany them. I would have loved to have seen Jalen Milroe running around in the month of December in a game that contributes to the college football playoff. Make no mistake. I think he is an exciting player. I think Ryan Williams is awesome. It would be a more quote unquote fun product than some of these other teams that are in the 12-team playoff, but you lost. You have 3 losses. It's so clear cut. I understand that the committee, the video that Heather Denich of ESPN tweeted out, it looks like a freaking it looks like a retirement home as they're sitting in that hotel in Fort Worth. You can make jokes.
Everyone was like, no laptops, no
beer,
no chicken wings.
You can make jokes about them all you want, but this was such a clear-cut decision thanks to Clemson somehow, some way, sneaking their way in. And I thank Clemson for that, because if Clemson had lost, if SMU had won, the conversation would be completely different here on this Monday morning.
So the Gator Bowl gets Duke and Ole Miss January 2nd, 7:30. If you want to go see Lane Kiffin, get your tickets to that. They're on sale now. And then Florida heads to Tampa to take on Tulane. That game is while we're in Vegas, Friday, December 20th at 3:30. So certainly excited that there are tons of TVs at Stadium Swim, so I can watch that game.
I do want to...
And watch Florida destroy Tulane, by the way.
if we have time, I would kind of like to run through a couple of the, maybe we do this tomorrow, because I know timing is, of course, of the essence. We only have 2 hours on the air with you guys. But I do want to run through, to tie this to the NFL draft, some names, because I know, Lauren, you feel like Quinn Ewers has the ability to raise his stock through his play in the college football playoff in the coming weeks. I know some of our friends on the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line, our friend Hef has a new draft crush. She's calling him the Makuba Missile Crisis.
Scatabo?
No, Andrew Makuba, the safety out of Texas.
I like Scatabo, though.
We like Scatabo too, so I want to talk about him. But the Makuba Missile Crisis, who for a team that needs a safety like the one in this town, maybe that's a player you want to pay attention to. So I do think at some point in time we need to do a primer, because I think championship weekend should not be devalued, because it should matter, and it should matter towards seeding for the college football playoff and who gets in and who does not. And B, it did give us yet another primetime opportunity to look at players who could be taking the next step in their football journeys and playing in the National Football League.
Here's why Quinn Ewers has a chance to improve his draft stock, which I've seen him go as high as 7 to the Titans in Walter Football's mock draft. But Texas takes on Clemson, and then Arizona State if Texas beats Clemson. And you would expect right now Texas is a double-digit point favorite over Clemson. And then Texas and Arizona State, you would expect Texas to beat Arizona State, at least as of this juncture. So, yes, if he can get his team to then take on the likes of whether it's Tennessee, Oregon, or Ohio State out of the other bracket, we will have a Texas-Oregon in the semifinals of the college football playoff. I mean, we'll see. Again, he has to play a lot better than he did.
Arch.
And we certainly could be seeing Arch Manning. We will go around the NFL when we return. Like Mia said, only 2 hours, so much to do. It's Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday. Find them online at wekeepjacksrollin.com on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
We can't wait to get game day underway, so we get started 5 hours before kickoff.
I can't pass that up.
It's the Terminix Kickoff Show, live from Tailgaters Parking. Brought to you by Gatorade and Clearwater Irrigation.
Thank you.
On 1010XL.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a beautiful walk-in closet that's also incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 1-800-293-3744. Hey, and if you mention Mia or Helmets and Heels, you qualify for free base molding. Call today or visit closetsbydesign.com. Locally owned and operated here in Jacksonville.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE NeoGraft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS. IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
Mia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question. Dreamfinders Homes was the builder for me. A big reason why? Their unbeatable interest rates. Right now, you could take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. Wow. Find your dream home, take advantage of unbeatable rates, and move in today. I'll say it again, 2.99% year one rate. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Get off the ladder and put on the helmet with Gutter Helmet of North Florida. We are family owned and manufactured locally. Cleaning your gutters is a dangerous and dirty job. That's why with Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. Water goes in your gutters while trash and debris go on the ground. It won't collect like filters do. Gutter Helmet protects. Call now for 10% off and a free gutter cleaning and tune-up with your purchase of Gutter Helmet. Call 904-762-7779.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control. Are you tired of spiders, ants, roaches, or other pests invading your home turf? Call the winning team at Kingfish Pest Control. I can tell you from my own experience, Kingfish will sack mosquitoes, tackle rodents, and intercept termites before they can blitz into your home. And right now, score 20% off your new pest control service when you start during the 2024 football season. Save big and defend your home with Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
This is Mark Nato. My sons and I have seen the doctors and PAs at Southeast Ortho for everything from lumbar spine stress to elbow tendonitis. Southeast has always been there, been truthful, and always been on point. Everything they say happens. We can't thank them enough for what they've done and the great care that they have taken of our sons.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
It's a force that can't be contained, propelled by purpose, pride, and the power to protect. When winning isn't just the mission, it's your passion. You pursue it.
You make power plays.
Aim for fences and go for end zones. You believe that your moment is now. At Farrah and Farrah, we deliver game day energy 24/7.
If you've been injured, put our force to work for you. Jacksonville.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie for Ricketts Electric. Now, any good lineup needs power. When I needed a power connection for our new walk-off Charities baseball park, I found the perfect partner in Ricketts Electric. You're going to love these guys, I'm telling you. The Ricketts family has been providing commercial and residential electric service for years. So call my buddy Zach Ricketts today at 904-320-5960, and you can find them on Facebook as well. You will trust them. That's Ricketts Electric, the city's best power connection. Call them today at 320-5960.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows and 295.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, visit AA Automotive on Richard Street. For oil changes to complex repairs, AA Automotive is a full-service repair shop for personal and commercial fleet vehicles. Trust AA to keep your ride running A-OK.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Brought to you by the YMCA. 4 quarters wasn't enough for the SEC Championship game. That finished with Georgia earning a first-round bye in the college football playoffs by defeating Texas 22-19 in overtime. Head coach Kirby Smart says it was a team effort, and he's proud of his dogs for fighting it out until the very end.
Just incredible in terms of the atmosphere, the opponent you play. I mean, typically for us, it's been a play-in or play-out game. I just have a lot of respect for this conference, the universities in it. Texas is a tremendous football program and team. They have got big physical defensive linemen, offensive linemen, and they are a really strong SEC team. But our team never quit tonight. I was really proud of them. I thought our fan base helped us. So really proud of the win.
It's 58 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time in temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farrah and Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
For the division! It's the Dyke for the division for the Chiefs!
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Like, really, a doink in?
That's the way.
Do you know how furious it makes me?
I wondered if you were awake last night when that doink happened, because in my mind I was like, Taylor's, if she's still awake right now, she's not gonna be able to sleep. She's gonna be so pissed.
I know, like, Matt Nagy peed his pants a little bit in that moment.
Well, I was going to say you could be happy for the other Matt in the situation, former Jaguars kicker Matthew Wright, which
no one ever wants anything good to happen to the Chiefs, though. They're 12-1.
That's the most Chiefs thing to have. Like, I mean, they have a lot of Chiefs things that has happened this whole year because they haven't been playing to the level where people thought, and then here they are. And then you literally are kicking a game-winning field goal. It doinks and doinks in.
I tweeted last night after it happened, it has to catch up to the Chiefs at some point, right? At Jacksonville on X, they're going to win the Super Bowl in a game that looks exactly like this. 19-17, Mahomes throws for 5.7 yards an attempt, 1 touchdown, some crazy wizard play on the game-winning drive, and that's literally it.
I mean, in the moment that Mahomes is going to find Kelsey, what happens? Mahomes finds Kelsey.
Yeah.
And you can't even stop it, is what it seems like. And look, the Chargers are a team that it feels like they're a year away from being a team that can really bring down a team like the Chiefs in their own division. But certainly they gave them a run for their money last night.
Side note, is Jim Harbaugh's mouth never not open? I say that endearingly and lovingly
Maybe
because
he has sinus problems like Taylor and I, where he does a lot of breathing through your mouth.
I appreciate what he has been able to do in Los Angeles. Hell, I've sat here and I've compared the Jaguars and what could be a reload here to what they've done in Southern California over the last 12 months or so. At the same time, he looks like Elmo. He looks like my cat Terrence when he smells something funny, and he's just like, his mouth is like half open. And I understand you Michigan fans have been dealing with this now for decades at this point. And I love Jim Harbaugh, but I genuinely was trying to find a moment where the camera cut to him on the broadcast last night where his mouth wasn't half open. And outside of when he's gritting his teeth, it's very difficult to find that.
Yeah, the Chiefs, if you missed it, do win the division on a doink.
Yeah.
And they had already been in the playoffs. We knew that part. But now, they're just going to cruise is what it feels like.
Insane.
It really is one of those things that when you compare the Jaguars to the Chargers, Mia, I'm like, but I want to be compared to the Chiefs, right? But
I'd be good with the Chargers right now. At this point.
Right. But you can't recreate what the Chiefs have. This is their Final Four. The Chiefs are at the Browns. That's a win. The Chiefs play host to the Texans. Probably a win. Texans aren't great. Chiefs are at the Steelers. Okay, that might be a loss depending on what the Steelers need to have happen. And then the Chiefs are at the Broncos. Again, the Chiefs don't need that Week 18, their 17th game, but Week 18
They'll still find a way to somehow win it with Carson Wentz under center.
Yeah. And
who even has, I guess the Bills and Ravens are like the two teams that you would feel most confident being able to beat them in the postseason because, look, and
the Bills haven't done it yet, though.
I know. And when you look at beyond that, it's the Steelers, which, I've said I actually think they're a pretty decent team, but I don't think they're what Kansas City has been able to create. I think they still have a little bit too many holes to get over that. The Texans definitely aren't someone that's going to be able to do that. We just saw the Chargers now lose to them.
The Bengals are not going to make the postseason. Yeah. But in the past, Joe Burrow has been able to beat Patrick Mahomes head-to-head in the postseason.
Yeah, so it's hard to even see somebody that's right there with them other than the Bills who haven't been able to once it hits the postseason.
And it is crazy how for years it's been the AFC's been better than the NFC. But it does feel like, at least for this year, you would take more NFC teams to win the Super Bowl than you would AFC's teams. Other than, yes, of course, we all think the Chiefs will get there. But as far as the top.
Here's the difficult part is I look at the Chiefs and I say they literally don't have a left tackle. Quite literally do not have a left tackle. They currently have a backup kicker.
Yeah, they went to their backup left tackle last night, too.
Yes, I know Harrison Butker will be back in some form or fashion. Boo. Their linebacking core, their safeties, their defensive front, good all the way around. Their wide receivers, I saw multiple street free agents tweeting last night. Shout out to Doris Fountain, Northern Iowa forever, who previously was in camp with the Chiefs, literally tweeting Veach, text me. Because the wide receiver situation still ain't great. They're just throwing things against the wall.
Hollywood Brown is going to come back, which is fascinating. We saw him in that really bad injury in the preseason with the sternoclavicular injury that required surgery, but he should be back for the postseason, which is good news for them.
Is he going to change
everything
offensively? And so that's
Patrick Mahomes took out his best wide receiver.
Right, but that's literally where I look at the Ravens, I look at the Bills, and I'm like, oh, on paper, they are the more talented roster, or they counter well here, they match up well here. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The golden horseshoe isn't even shoved up their butt anymore. This is just who they are. It's weird sorcery, weird magic, and I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah,
It's
there's nothing.
cheeseburgers
You
for
just gotta
Andy
watch
Reid.
it. It's like the same. It feels again like the
Brady.
New England, yeah, because it's just you didn't feel like there was anything you can do, even in years when it wasn't absolutely incredible, even in years when you felt like they had no offensive
2019.
weapons. Yes, and it's insane to go back and look at some of those years that they won 11, 12, 13 games when you were like, look at that roster. Like no other quarterback and coach are winning with the rosters that they had, especially the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yesterday you did see a couple strange endings, I feel like, or just the fact that the Jets were able to hang with the Dolphins throughout that game. Dolphins ended up having to win in overtime, and then the Eagles had to come back against the Panthers. They won that game 22-16. But again, like you're seeing some of the talented teams, I feel like in the NFL, each week you never know.
Yeah,
It's a gamble.
We've talked about like this season being one of those years all around, just the parity of this year and how different teams are being good teams have their games where they don't look good, and then bad teams are beating good teams somehow, or at least making it close, and you're like, what is going on? Bryce Young has looked a ton of better the last few weeks, and I'm really super excited for him. You just see like he's one of those nice guys. You can tell like he got benched and was just quiet and sat and learned from Andy Dalton and waited for his time to come back, and then now you're seeing it pay off a little bit. And honestly, they had the chance to win. Xavier Leggett, whatever, ended up dropping the one like right before the end zone, and that would have been a win for them. And so that kind of sucks because I love him
What
too.
does that say about the Eagles?
I know. I mean, I think the Eagles are.
They probably just took a week off.
They were probably like, it's
They
the
heard about that
Panther.
guy in Kentucky that placed the $3.5 million bet on the Eagles to win this game.
Oh,
It's
did
the
they?
largest single game bet. I saw Adam Schefter tweeted in NFL history.
Just
and
to
said,
win, not to cover?
Just to win.
Okay.
Just to
They
win.
have their whole division pretty much, and the Steelers. So Steelers, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants is the remaining of their schedule. So Steelers and Commanders, probably like obviously the more difficult games, and Cowboys, Giants not so much. But the divisional games are the ones that can get people, especially down the stretch. Not saying they're already going to make the playoff, but once you start getting into that final stretch of games of seeding and figuring out all of that stuff is when it comes in.
So we, of course, led off today's program on a Big Chief Tire Monday here on Helmets and Heels with the Jaguars. And the idea of the Jaguars finally getting in the win column. And, hey, did they fix some things on offense? Could this turn into a potential winning streak? RJ, let's imagine here for a second.
Imagine with Closets by Design.
Imagine your home totally organized.
My designer, Francis, was at my house this morning. The paperwork is signed. Can't wait to have my Closet by Design coming in a couple of weeks. Oh, so excited. What I also would like to come to Duval, maybe in a couple of weeks, perhaps a month or so. I spoke with a league source who said to me, yeah, the Jaguars finally got a win. Here are some other teams that won this past weekend and how many points they put up, shall we? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 28 points. The Detroit Lions, 34 points. I know you guys noticed a trend between those two teams, so let's go elsewhere. Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers, 27 points. The Philadelphia Eagles, despite the shortcomings, 22 points. The Seattle Seahawks with a first-year head coach in Mike McDonald, a first-year NFL play caller in Ryan Grubb, 30 points on that heralded Arizona Cardinals defense. Oh, and Kevin O'Connell, a McVay disciple, and the Minnesota Vikings hung 42. Sam Darnold, yes, Sam Darnold threw for 5 touchdowns against the Atlanta Falcons. What is all of this to say? I want you to imagine a Duval in which not only you can win a football game, but you can score multiple touchdowns in a single game. Better yet, what if I told you there was an opportunity to change that in 1 year's time, like we saw the Los Angeles Chargers? A wild stat for you. There's a certain NFC team that ranked dead last in first down plays that produced first downs or touchdowns last year. 16% of the time, they actually had a first down on a first down play or scored a touchdown. 16% of the time. This year, they're second in the National Football League. 26%. That team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'll take it one step further. The only team with a better mark of either scoring or getting another first down on first down is the Detroit Lions. Do with that information what you will.
So it can be done. We can have everything fixed here in
1 year's time. There are
not
teams,
even a year.
There are teams that are changing completely philosophically who they are. And by the way, Todd Bowles was the head coach of the Bucs last year. He's still the head coach of the Bucs, which their defense had a couple of questions yesterday. And if Aiden O'Connell had finished that game, I'm very curious how it would have played out. But offensively, they have completely shifted their identity. A team that even when they won the Super Bowl could not run the ball outside of one meteoric month from Leonard Fournette.
Mm-hmm.
And now here they are.
Super Bowl Lenny.
Effectively, yes, that's Lombardi Lenny. That's Lombardi Lenny.
That's what it was.
They are effectively running the football, playing complementary football. They ran the ball for 152 yards yesterday with Rashad White, Bucky Irving, and Sean Tucker.
I think that Bucs can be one of the more dangerous in the NFC because they're getting healthy. And they're getting healthy at the right time, which the opposite of other teams like the Lions. The Lions are very banged up, and every week they're losing more people. So it's like opposite trajectory between those two teams.
The point is you can change this identity. You can change philosophically who you are in a year's time, albeit by bringing in new ideas. And when you do so, Shad Khan, I'm speaking to you, do not say, hey, we won the game. You scored 10 points. It's not enough.
Yeah, if he's looking at that going, everything's headed in the right direction, yikes. All right, we've got a Taylor Doll Tangent on the other side, as well as lunch from Chick-fil-A. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
This is Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. If offense and defense don't win the game, sometimes it's up to the special team.
And here comes the field goal team. They've got to hurry.
After the game, catch the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game. Live generously and life will treat you royally on 1010XL.
Mia here for my friends at Projax Roofing. Meteorological hurricane season may have come to a close, but winter is coming. If your roof took on any damage at all this fall, or you want to get ahead of schedule for these winter months, know that Projax Roofing is here to help. From the smallest of repairs to full roof replacements, my friend Mike has been serving all of Northeast Florida for 25 years. Call them today at 904-338-1722, and you only speak to Mike directly. That's Projax Roofing. Visit them online at projaxroofingfl.com.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you heard? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are aiming to sell 1,000 vehicles this December. How? I've told my team to take all reasonable offers. We won't lose your business over price. With thousands of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the ground, all priced to sell, we guarantee the most money for your trade and the easiest car buying experience ever. I promise we ain't leaving nothing on the table. This is the absolute last weekend. Visit Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen, energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Right now, buy one window or patio door and get one 40% off. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. The first 50 customers get a free True Screen upgrade, but this offer expires December 31st. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
The Money Pages brings you the Red Zone featured player of the week. Number 1, Jaguars running back Travis Etienne Jr. Travis played college ball for the Clemson Tigers and was drafted by the Jags in the first round in 2021. Pick up this week's Jags game program with a commemorative ticket of Travis Etienne inside. Download the Money Pages app for weekly specials. Money Pages, official sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
If you're looking for the best in indoor air quality, I've got the experts to call. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jaguars, specializing in the best air quality for your home or work with the Remy Halo. Instead of waiting for pollutants to travel through the ductwork to be neutralized, the Halo cell releases friendly oxidizers every time your fan blows air, helping those in your home that suffer from allergies and other respiratory issues. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and start enjoying cool comfort and clean air.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Post Game Monday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff.
I'm living proof that with Rebound Rehab, you can bounce back and get back in the game. Joe C. for Rebound Rehabilitation, and they helped me recover from an ankle injury that had me down and out. Their team of physical therapists ensure you'll get the best treatment you need to recover and regain mobility. From back, shoulder, and neck pain to a nagging knee or arthritis, Rebound Rehab can help form a game plan through therapy and exercise, complete with an app so you can continue to recover at home. Check out reboundrehab.com. 8 convenient locations.
A call to arms.
Go Army.
A battle on the gridiron.
Be Navy.
This game is everything. This is the world for us and for them.
1010XL's Army-Navy focus is defended by Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyoublow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Jacksonville's building a fence along the goal line. This is the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Jarian Jones was moving and grooving while in the Volunteer State. The rookie corner tallied 5 tackles against the Titans, as well as 1 sack, and produced 2 passes defended in what was a great outing. He had the gifts that would make Santa Claus happy this season, and is your Superior Fence and Rail's defensive player of the game.
If you're tired of your fence looking like a bad hair day, well, it's time for a fence makeover with Superior Fence and Rail. They'll make your yard the talk of the town with a new fence installed by their expert team.
Your fence is fantastic. My fence is giving all of my neighbors some serious pick and envy. Thanks, Superior Fence and Rail.
So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your fence installation project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Did want to give a shout out to Reigns football, by the way, beating Booker 28-23 on Friday night in the state semifinals, improving to 13-0 on the season. Now we'll take on Northwestern for the state title this Saturday night at 7:30. Unfortunately, St. Augustine and Trinity Christian seasons did end over the weekend, but Reigns is just going strong. Again, 13-0, and I don't know much about Northwestern, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say Reigns wins it all.
Well, I can give you a fun fact about Northwestern, which is Teddy Bridgewater is the head coach of the team that Reigns will be facing on Friday night. 2 of the more historic high school programs
never heard of
in
him.
The state of Florida. And
he was with Louisville when Louisville beat Florida in a bowl game 12 years ago.
I want to credit the Reigns, not only the staff and the coaching staff and everybody involved with the school and DPS and everybody involved. That game started at 6:30 p.m. on Friday. It did not end until about 10:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, gosh.
There was a scuffle with the Booker coaching staff and players. The head coach for Booker was ejected mid-game. This was absolutely wild. I'm going to be honest. I was watching it from my phone. I may or may not have taken a little cat nap, and I looked over at 10 o'clock, and I still saw our friend Marcel Robinson from Action Sports Jax tweeting. And I was like, how is this game not ended yet? There were 30 penalty flags thrown in this game. And so a credit to Coach Maslin and the Reigns Vikings for staying disciplined, staying focused in what will be an all-timer and hopefully another all-timer on deck down in South Florida this weekend.
Reigns won in 97, 2017, and 2018. So would also like to add 2024 to that. All right, right now, Taylor Dahl has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
Let's start off with giving some lunch. We have a lunch on the ladies, lunch for 2 to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call at 641-1010. You can go and get one of those seasonal peppermint chip milkshakes. I've already had 2 of them, and I'm obsessed. But I do also have a very bad, I have an addiction to peppermint things. I love anything like
peppermint martini?
Yes, peppermint martini. I have peppermint lip gloss that I use during the winter because it just makes me feel like I'm getting into that little Christmas vibe. But yeah, swing by, give us a call at, let's say, caller number 2, and you can go get a milkshake and some lunch on us.
They were ready, by the way.
Were they already calling?
They're already calling.
Okay, good. They also want those peppermint milkshakes. Okay, so I have a couple stats here for you, and it was something that we talked about a little bit about both of these people, one more than the other. But earlier in the show, when we were talking about stats that don't totally connect to how the season is going, let's talk a little bit more about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, obviously, Cincinnati plays Dallas tonight, so these numbers are without this week's numbers. They will play Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. Bengals Cowboys tonight.
Yeah,
on Monday Night
everybody's ready for that one.
Yeah. So Joe Burrow right now has 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 3,337 yards, completing 67.7% of his passes. The Bengals are 4-7. Team records for quarterbacks who have had at least 30-plus touchdowns and only 5 or fewer picks through this week in the NFL season. So what are we on, 13 now? And Tom Brady in 2007 was 12-0. Rodgers in 2011 was 12-0. Rodgers in 2013 was 9-3. Breeze in 2018 was 10-2. Patrick Mahomes in 2020 was 11-1. Aaron Rodgers in 2021 was 9-3. The Bengals are 4. It's so sad.
I'm going to look up on MyBookie. I want to see what his odds are for MVP because
0.
But he should be though.
I know because they're not winning.
Answer.
And that's what everyone's going to be like, well, you got to win. But it is absolutely insane that the only other quarterbacks to do this in the NFL are Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Patrick Mahomes, and all of them have 12-0, 12-0, 10-2, 11-1, and then 2 9-3 seasons with Aaron Rodgers with those numbers. It's absolutely insane that the Bengals cannot find ways to help him whatsoever.
14th best odds, plus 20,000. The likes of Geno Smith, Kyron Williams, Sam Darnold.
That's basically 0.
All ahead of Joe Burrow.
Yeah, he's not going to win it. And again, some people, if he plays well tonight, will finally be like, oh, look, I get to see Joe Burrow in primetime because the Bengals these days aren't playing in primetime. They've been getting flexed out.
Yeah. So another interesting one, too, this is a person that we've talked about a little bit. This is also now that we are kind of getting into coach chatter and which coaches are working, which haven't, which trees they've fallen off of when it comes to their coaching trees, all of those sort of things. And I think one person that we have given praise to that maybe there's a little bit of concern starting to arise is Mike McDaniel. And Mia, you and I have had this conversation in saying, is a Ben Johnson like a Mike McDaniel when it comes to kind of quirky, nerdy, loves to design plays, loves that side of it, but does it fully transfer to being a head coach? And I'm not saying Ben Johnson is a yes or no in that, but it is somebody that we've kind of connected in some similarities. So Mike McDaniel is 3-14 against teams above 500. 2 of those wins were in his first season as a head coach. So they're 1-15 in their last 16 games against teams that have made the playoffs or have a winning record. And like I said, those first 2 came that first year when it comes to those above 500 teams. So I think that you are going to start hearing some chatter about Mike McDaniel. I was seeing videos already this weekend of Dolphins fans saying, you've got to fire Mike McDaniel. This isn't working. And
Before
this is
how it was Tua's only good because of McDaniel. Now it's Tua's good and McDaniel's not it.
But it kind of draws some ties here, though, because we talk about people, when you talk about one-score games, that's something that you correlate to your head coaching staff, and we've talked about that number here. But also, if you're only beating bad teams, what does that say? And maybe it's a talent perspective, but it's hard to say that when you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, two of the best top wide receivers in the league, on the team. And yes, there's other things. The defense has gotten worse. They haven't been able to run the ball as well. Tua missed some time. So all of those things factor in. But at the same time, if you're known as the coach who can beat bad teams but never the good teams, it's not going to last very long.
I feel bad for the good people of South Florida if it is to come to that, because they are already trying to grip with the reality that Manny Diaz through 3 years was 21-15 and Mario Cristobal is 22-15 through 3 seasons at the University of Miami. And so it becomes once again that question that, quite frankly, the shining example, and honestly, we can find some other examples off the top of the dome, I'm sure, but the shining example of the idea of the enemy of great is good is the University of Georgia. That they love Mark Richt. Mark Richt was going to guarantee you somewhere between 7 and 10 wins every single season. You were going to be competitive in the SEC, but when all was said and done, you could not get over the hump. And so therefore, Georgia had to go big fish hunting and bring Kirby home. It worked out for Georgia. It has not worked out in respects in both the college ranks and the National Football League. And so that's where I say Tua Tagovailoa was not a functioning top 15 quarterback in the NFL under Brian Flores and his staff. So can you really say goodbye to Mike McDaniel and say, all right, like the next guy is going to be just as good with a quarterback who has not looked and not lived up to standards when he has anyone else calling plays?
And that's the scary part but the unfortunate part is sometimes you have these guys who are really good coordinators and just aren't good head coaches once they get to that next level and have all of the other responsibilities and have to be the leader of the men. It doesn't transfer that way. And we've seen it a lot. Like I would say Matt Nagy is in that category because Matt Nagy is the guy that the team loves. Like he is the rah-rah guy. He'll be dancing in the locker room with everybody. When it comes to just having to do his job, it's good. When he has to be asked to even play call, he's not really good at it. That's why it's working in Kansas City, because he doesn't have to call plays. But there's a lot of things that when sometimes you see these guys and you're like, man, they're so good at what they do. Matt Eberflus, like defensive, you just saw what this defense did without Matt Eberflus this last week. Matt Eberflus defensively is fantastic. He's just not a good head coach. So how do GMs and owners figure that out of really deciphering what guys are really, really good at their job, but can they handle it at that next level?
And that's why they go back to guys like Bill Belichick, potentially, if he winds up back in the NFL, Doug Peterson. They want to go the route of, I know you've been a head coach and been successful before, so I don't want to take chances on someone who's only had to do one part of the job, and that's coordinating.
Good segue, Lauren. Let's hit that real quick, RJ, because a little bit of news on the Bill Belly front.
That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Bill Belichick was just on the Pat McAfee show for his weekly spot. He said he's had a couple of good conversations with the University of North Carolina, and we will see how it goes. He says, quote, "It seems like college football is more like pro football." Said he's talked to plenty of coaches to discuss value, the portal, and the new college world. I saw a couple different reports that suggested from inside sources in Chapel Hill that Bill showed up to his first Zoom call, which was purely exploratory with the University of North Carolina, already had players he would identify in the transfer portal, players on the recruiting trail locally in North Carolina. I'm not surprised that Belichick was so prepared for this initial interview, and that's what prompted the second in-person interview in New York. What I am curious to see is that UNC has reportedly said their deadline is today because the transfer portal opens today, and that's why the fact that Bill Belichick just now was a little wishy-washy on ESPN is interesting to me. He obviously, has a great poker face, perhaps the best in all of professional sports, so I won't question him there. What I think is also interesting is that would Bill Belichick be going after this job if he had an NFL team courting him, if
No.
he knew an NFL team was waiting for him once the coaching carousel does start spinning again.
No, because it's one thing to talk about the transfer portal and identify some talented guys, and then it's another thing to actually deal with it on a daily basis and have even your own players. Like I saw today, a Texas linebacker is already announcing that he's going to enter the portal. Their season's not even over.
Yeah. There's guys just getting
they're putting their
approval
feelers
to
out.
play their 8th season. We just saw that over the week.
Yeah, I did see a report that says Cam Rising's probably not coming back. Whether that means he's going to the NFL draft or
No, I think
transferring
he's going to be
else.
the coach in wait. Well, I know they already have a coach in waiting. He will be the coach in waiting to the coach in
And the waiting and waiting.
Yes, exactly. And just sit there in Salt Lake City, love life, sitting with Kyle Whittingham forever and ever.
All right, it is a Victory Monday here on Helmets and Heels. It's a Big Chief Tire Monday as well. One segment to go on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
Injured in an accident? Have mounting medical bills? Can't work? Don't worry. Zach's got your back. I'm Zach Von Rowan of Von Rowan Law. I will fight for the compensation that you deserve. Set up your free consultation at zachsgotyourback.com.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
Mia here for MyBookie. We are back to Monday Night Football tonight after another profitable betting weekend on MyBookie. If you didn't hit, you have the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Dallas as 5-point favorites on Monday Night Football. We'll take that spread all day as the Bengals are actually pretty darn good. You just heard Taylor Dahl's tangent and how good that offense can be when it is clicking on all cylinders. A high point total in this one, a 50-point over-under total. Take a hard look at a parlay bet with the Bengals covering the 5-point spread and the under 50. MyBookie has the best sign-up bonus in the industry for Florida bettors. Our listeners can sign up and use promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus that doubles your money on your first deposit up to $1,000. That's promo code 1010XL to claim your double deposit bonus for Monday Night Football. Sign up now using promo code 1010XL. Bet anywhere, anytime, and make your season a winning season with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Hey, Florida drivers, the holiday season is upon us. When celebrating, always plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Besides, a DUI could cost you $10,000. Not exactly the best gift you could give yourself. Celebrate responsibly and remember to drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
You want to know what 3 little words everyone wants to hear, especially this time of the year? Toyotathon is on, and it's going on now at Arlington Toyota. Mia here. Arlington's lot is packed with hundreds of new Toyotas, and they're all marked with Toyotathon savings. How big are those savings? How about financing as low as 0% on select new models? 0%. When was the last time you heard the word zero? But before you get all caught up in the frenzy like me, remember that with every new Toyota purchase at Arlington, you get the benefit of their 60-day exchange program. That's 60 days to love your new purchase or exchange it for one that you do for total buying confidence. Plus, every new purchase from Arlington Toyota comes with Arlington's lifetime warranty. That's unlimited time and miles. So where should you get your Toyotathon savings? From Arlington Toyota. With a 4.7 out of 5-star rating and over 21,000 Google reviews, they do Toyotathon right. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
It's a Helmets and Heels Big Chief Tire Monday.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
simpler.
These are interesting economic times. That's why it's so important to have someone you can count on. That's ITP Partners. Jacksonville folks taking care of our Jacksonville money. Experience? You best believe you want to give your hard-earned money to folks you trust. Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Reed Wingate, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reagan Wright have the expertise and knowledge to help clients in their financial lives, focusing on investment management, financial planning, and risk management. ITP Partners. Financial partners for life. Securities offered through American Portfolios Financial Services, Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
When mice and rats show up in your space, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents, and they'll keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so do we. Don't live with a rodent problem. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
She's seen and heard all over 1010XL's video and social channels.
Whether the big cats are at the bank or on the road, I'm there too. Follow my updates all season long, on air and online.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
Elbow pain, whether acute or chronic, can make it difficult to do normal activities like playing sports, doing household chores, or even sleeping comfortably. Dr. George Barr here, and no one wants to deal with pain without solutions on how to feel better. We've all heard of tennis and golfer's elbow, but there's plenty more that can cause pain, like osteoarthritis, muscle tears, and nerve entrapment. All are treatable at Barr Orthopedics. Getting you back to full health is our mission, and there's a number of different treatment options we can offer. Call us today or visit barrorthopedics.com.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
The Jaguars ended a 5-game losing streak on Sunday with a 10-6 victory against the Titans. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson with a sense of relief in the postgame.
Feels great to get back in the win column. It's been a while. Hats off to the players. Battled their tails off. Defense, I thought, all day kept us in the football game. Came up big with some PBUs, and obviously they're at the end. Yeah, offense, we got slow start, but we gained momentum as the game went on, and proud of the guys for 10 points in the fourth quarter, and obviously finishing the game that way. So hats off to those guys. They battled their tails off.
Doug Peterson on Sunday. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
It is a Victory Monday here on Helmets and Heels. Always a Big Chief Tire Monday. You can find them at WeKeepJacksRollin.com. Appreciate our friends, Reed and Kelsey, and the whole Big Chief Tire family. All right, what was the best part of the Jaguars beating the Titans for you, ladies?
Tank Bigsby was finally given the football for the first time since the Jaguars last won a football game. How does that sound, Lauren?
Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things I could say bad. I can say some good things.
Yeah,
but
we avoided a lot of the bad today because
we were pretty positive.
We don't have a lot of victory Mondays around here.
I'm going to say, though, you finally win a one-score game. I mean, that has been this narrative that you haven't been able to do that. And when it comes down to the end of the game, things have gone wrong, whether it's play calling, whether it's turnovers, whether it's the defense letting the opposing team just drive right down. I think the defense did a good job, and obviously only allowing 6 points, but just in general down that stretch when it was that big moment you need to stop them or you're about to lose again in another one-score game, they were able to hold it up. And I think that's something that you have to look at as a positive.
For me, it's the fact that I think the Titans came into that game a bit like, of course we're going to beat the Jaguars. Yeah. And maybe not the team
Justin
necessarily.
Mello said, like, what was his score?
26 to 13,
right?
Something along those lines.
You're not scoring 26
and
points.
And again, not the team necessarily, but the media for sure thought that the Jags were going to roll over because they've seen them get blown out a few different times. And also, the Titans thought that they had a little bit of momentum because they had recently beaten the Texans, albeit their most recent game was really ugly, but they had beaten a somewhat good team. it's hard for me to even say that the Texans are good, and the Jaguars certainly with Mac Jones looked like a disaster the last few times out.
Yeah.
And yet somehow, some way, the Jaguars just kept finding a way. And so the fact that you were able to beat the rival, that makes, I think, a lot of Jacksonville happy. Even if you're still worried at the draft order and things like that, I'm not that worried about it. You're still going to have a top probably 7 pick.
2 things. 1, if Will Levis had hit Chigakonkwo on that crossing route on 4th and goal, does that change the trajectory of the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's put that out there.
The Jaguars couldn't.
That's been the whole life of our
double-digit
like
deficit.
one bad thing happens and everything bad happens after that. Is
Correct.
how it's been.
Number 2.
For a year now, by the way.
Our friends at 104.5 The Zone, the Buck Rising show is currently on up in Nashville right now. And the title to their live stream today, the Titans lose the kind of game that gets people fired.
Who do they want to fire? They just fired everybody last
They just hired everybody, so I don't think you can fire anybody. Only Nathaniel Hackett and Urban Meyer get that treatment. And I didn't think it was such poor coaching by Brian Callahan that it would warrant such action.
Coordinators maybe.
I would argue that was what, if I'm a Titans fan this morning, what is most disappointing to me is you ran the ball on your first 7 plays. Then what happened?
Then you put the ball in Will Levis's hands.
And that's why when we were talking to Justin Mello last week, I was, first of all, and I've said on here, I love Tony Pollard, and you see why. Like Tony Pollard, the things that he can do, and I said in open space between tackles, everything you need to your running back to do, he can do. And I was so confused. I was like, oh, here we go. To your point, Lauren, that first drive, I was like, oh, this is about to be a long day because Tony Pollard was just going to run all over the place, and then it felt like they were just like, oh, we're going to trust Will Levis a little bit more. Maybe that's because they've been like, okay, this secondary for the Jags hasn't been very good at whatsoever, so let's try and take advantage of that. Yeah, we have to see what Will Levis is, because they have to make that choice now, and they're in that part of the year, and we've been there many times here in Jacksonville of those final few weeks being like, okay, are we going to give this guy a shot, or are we not going to give this guy another shot? And that they are making that decision. But yeah, it was weird to give up on that when that was literally the one thing working.
One thing I thought about over the weekend that has nothing to do with the Titans, but Trevor Lawrence and Marissa, his wife, are going to welcome a baby into this world in the near future, and he's going to have his arm in a sling. Like, that part kind of sucks for your first baby to be here, and literally you can't use one of your arms because you have to have shoulder surgery.
It's the nature of the job.
Yeah,
it is. You get paid a lot of money.
Definitely could be way worse. And I'm sure that he's honestly, there's moments where they're thankful, because there was probably a split second where Marissa was absolutely terrified that the brain injury was going to be worse, or as a neck injury, because on that broadcast it really did look like something like that. So honestly, them being like, okay, it's his left shoulder, I'm sure there are at least some optimism coming out of it in that light.
Yeah, I just had to think about it through the normal human perspective, and like, that's just not an ideal thing. But yes, it certainly could be worse. We see terrible injuries in this league all the time. As far as the positives, other positives, Jarian Jones, that's the move that he put on the offensive lineman was fantastic. And for him to get his first career sack was great, especially on the heels of what happened a week ago, which that is the fact that everyone thought he threw a punch and got ejected for that. And it didn't really happen like that.
Our friend Jeremy on the MyBookie Digital Studio chat says, the day I heard the call with Jarian when he was drafted and he cried, I knew he would be a baller. He's the one who plays with emotion. That's the type of player I want on my squad.
Yep.
He does play with a lot of emotion.
He does, and I've been saying that for a few weeks. I've just progressively seen him become a bigger part of not only the defense, but a bigger part of being vocal, and you'll see him. We talked about that alpha dog term last week, and that is somebody that I can full on see being that person in the next couple years once he kind of isn't a rookie and trying to figure everything out also in the NFL. I do think if we're talking positives, and this is somebody that I've been very critical of, I was critical from the moment the pick was selected, but Mason Smith, the last couple of weeks, you've seen a lot out of him. You've seen some pressures from him this last weekend. Eric Armstead, you saw some pressures from this last weekend, but I do think that when we were shouting in like week 4 or 5, it might have been, where we were like, when we were all like, what do we do? Like, how do you fix this? And we were like, well, maybe put some of the young guys in. Like, maybe these young guys will ignite this spark, or at least a little bit of something. And it looks like that's what's happening now. A Jarian Jones, a Mason Smith, a Tank Bigsby, a Brian Thomas Jr. are the guys that are bringing the fire to this team right now.
Ventrell Miller.
Ventrell,
too,
yes.
Certainly. Yeah, it's always a good day when you are able to walk away from a game where you only score 10 points and have positives because you win. Like normally we would be ripping this team for the fact that they didn't score a single point in the first half.
Yeah.
And they only got and they only got 10 total, but it all worked out. All right, RJ, let's cool down.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
I also promised our friend Jeremy on the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line that we would talk a little Reigns football. Thank you, Lauren. We did get to touch on the Vikings. Ichiban headed down to South FLA for the state semifinals this Friday night. I will cool down as I feel like I do each and every Monday, as it was just released. The new AP Top 25 in men's and women's basketball.
Who's number 9 in the men's?
Dropped. Number 9, the Florida Gators. They also, by the way, were number 9 in the Mo Bryan ballot this morning. So right on par with where the rest of our voting contingent for the AP Top 25 has Florida at 9-0. With so many other teams losing this weekend, Florida is among the few that are still undefeated. That includes the number 1 ranked Tennessee Volunteers. They are 8-0. I said it when I was on Nashville radio last week, and I will say it once more, Heeligans. We are claiming every Tennessee victory in which Chaz Lanier, formerly of the University of North Florida, scores more than a dozen points. Chaz's numbers, despite not playing for the Birds of Trey right now, are somehow up. He is averaging close to 4 3-pointers per game. That's 12 points without even getting into the paint, hitting the free throw line, et cetera, et cetera. So good on Tennessee, good on Rick Barnes, hitting, lightning struck twice on Rocky Top. He gets Dalton Connect last year. He gets Chaz Lanier, our local product this year. We are claiming all of your victories.
Love it. I'm going to cool down with a text from the text line because as we were just talking about Tennessee Titans radio and what they were saying, 982 said, I was listening to the Titans radio on this morning to see what they were saying, and their guy said the owner isn't shy, obviously Amy Adams Strunk, but isn't shy with pulling the trigger on firings, and Callahan's seat has warmed up. I feel like that is an organization. I mean, they fired Mike Vrabel, and everyone was like, what the heck are you doing? So I do think that if this ends in a disaster these last few weeks for them, that it is a conversation they're having this offseason.
Well, because you want to move forward with who's the best coach for my next quarterback if that's what they decide to do. If it's still Will Levis, maybe he has a great relationship with Callahan and you move in the same direction. But if you're going in a different direction and maybe you think Cliff Kingsbury is the guy to be able to groom your next quarterback if that's what they decide, that's what I would do if I was them. Will Levis, I never thought was going to be successful in the NFL. Certainly it's been a couple years now, and I don't think he's proven anybody like Prisco Wright who thought he would be successful.
I also don't think and
I'm not bashing Pete for that. Pete also was right on Josh Allen. It's just certain ones you watch and you're like, okay, this person's not good. Like I think you have a negative take now on Quinn Ewers.
Oh yeah.
After watching him last season and this
Absolutely.
season. Right. Other people may say, like you said, Carson Beck and put them in the same category. At the end of the day, Mac Jones is the quarterback here, and that's all we get to evaluate the rest of this season. Most likely. I guess Trevor could come back for the very last game against the Colts.
No, Doug said it Friday that it's
since the surgery was announced officially.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
Boom.
He could have surgery, come back. I mean, wouldn't put it past Doug.
No, yeah. I mean,
Doug hates Trevor, so he's like, you got to play, or I'm going to tell everyone it's all your fault.
Right. Yeah. All I know is I enjoyed that victory Sunday, just like I've enjoyed the victory Monday as well. And by the way, for the Derek Carr fans out there, unfortunately, he did suffer a significant fracture in his non-throwing hand. He's expected to miss several weeks at this point in time in the season. That pretty much means the end of the road.
Yep.
All right, well, it's been a fun Victory Monday. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Always a big Chief Tire Monday. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. XL Prime Time. Joe still in Nashville, and then Leon back here is next on 10.